I am glad to be here with you today to share some words with you on John chapter 13, verses 21 to 32. Thank you for watching, and I really hope that these devotionals, especially during this week before Easter, it has been meaningful to you. Today, what I want us to do is focus on the first couple of passages from John 13, verses 21. It says, "After saying these things, Jesus was troubled in his spirit and testified, 'Truly, truly, I say to you, one of you will betray me.' The disciples looked at one another, uncertain of whom he spoke. One of the disciples whom Jesus loved was reclining at the table at Jesus' side. So Simon Peter motioned to him to ask Jesus of whom he was speaking. So that disciple, leaning back against Jesus, said to him, 'Lord, who is it?' Jesus answered, 'It is he to whom I will give this morsel of bread when I have dipped it.' So when he had dipped the morsel, he gave it to Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot." This is such an intense story of both betrayal and love. One of Jesus' disciples, Judas, decides to betray his Lord. Here's Judas. He spent over 3 years with Jesus. He saw Jesus' miracles. He heard his teachings. He experienced his love. But yet for Judas, that wasn't enough. Some commentators said that Judas was actually looking for Jesus to be this earthly ruler, this earthly king. And as Jesus talked more about his death, he realized that this wasn't going to happen. So maybe this is a reason why Judas has decided to betray Jesus. But before we judge Judas for making this fatal decision, I want us to spend some time today, or maybe for you to spend some time today, to think about, were there times that maybe you betrayed Jesus? And maybe for some of us, it's the same reason why Judas betrayed Jesus. Maybe we get too busy building our own earthly kingdom, and we totally ignore that Jesus is even there. We ignore what Jesus has done for us on the cross. And I get it, that can happen in our busyness, in the things in the everyday life, in our current situation. It's easy to not see Jesus in our midst, not see what he's doing. Instead, we take things, we take him for granted, and we see that things aren't going our way, and we take control, and we ignore Jesus' plan and purpose for us. But here's the good news. Jesus will always extend the hand of fellowship to us, even when we've betrayed him. If we think about this scene, this is happening during the Passover, and Judas must have been really close to Jesus. He was probably right next to Jesus. And realistically, that's a position of honor. And Jesus had put Judas in this position of honor. Because Jesus, what he did was he took the bread and he gave it to Judas, extending his hand of fellowship with him. And this is a sign where Jesus is just reminding Judas that he does not have to do what he's about to do. And it's a reminder to us that we don't have to feel guilty or feel like we can't go back to God when we've betrayed him. Because Jesus will always welcome us back. But he calls us into this relationship where we would follow him and remain in his love. So I hope that as you think about this week, that you will remember Jesus' hand of fellowship to you. That if you've done anything that you felt separated you from him, this is a good week for you to be reminded that on the cross, he died for you, and that he loves you, and he welcomes you back. Thank you for joining us on The Five, and we look forward to worshiping with you on Good Friday and Easter. See you then.